On April 5, 1934, Richard Peck came into the world in the small western town of Decatur, Illinois. Peck was raised in Decatur, where he attended school all the way through high school graduation. After graduating high school, Peck attended DePaul University, where he completed his bachelor's in English in 1956. Peck says in those days, a boy knew when his adolescence was over, and in his case, this realization came when he received a draft letter from the military. Peck was stationed in Germany, where he served as a chaplain's assistant for 2 years. As part of his job, Peck worked as a ghostwriter, writing sermons for the chaplains. This was the beginning of his writing career. After returning from Germany, Peck completed his master's degree at Southern Illinois University. He had always dreamed of being a famous writer, but he had been taught growing up that he should make a living and not take chances. So he became an English teacher. But in 1971, he quit his teaching job, and on the very same day began writing his first book. Don't Look and It Won't Hurt. This fictional book for young adults tells the story of Carol and her struggle with the pain and joys of adolescence as she experiments with rebellion for the first time. Since then, Peck has written one book every year for an impressive total of 39 books. He has always kept his students in mind as he writes, and therefore his books are geared for children and young adults. Although his target audience age remains consistent, his genres include everything from historical to mystery to horror books. Many of Peck's books have ties to his childhood. He says his hometown of Decatur was the real Illinois, a town where teenagers were guilty until proven innocent. This town eventually became his inspiration for his Newbery Honor-winning book, A Long Way from Chicago, which tells the story of a young Mary Alice and her brother, two city slickers from Chicago, who visit their grandmother in her small western town. The book portrays the crazy antics of not just one, but 7 summer visits, and the crazy adventures they include. A Long Way from Chicago was also named a National Book Award finalist and an ALA Best Book for Young Adults. The sequel to this book is what Peck was awarded the Newbery Award for. Set during the Depression, Mary Alice is sent to live with her grandmother because her parents cannot afford to take care of her. Except this time she is going alone, and this time she is staying for a whole year. This very entertaining book allows an interesting look at a middle American town and a crazy grandmother, all through the eyes of a girl who is starting to figure out life as a teenager. The witty book is full of themes about family, right and wrong, and growing up. However, not all of Peck's books have such feel-good themes. Some of his books deal with difficult and sometimes controversial issues, such as his book, Are You in the House Alone?, which tells the tragic story of a young high school girl and her experience with rape. Peck is quoted as saying, "A young adult novel ends not with happily ever after, but at a new beginning, with the sense of a lot of life yet to be lived." Are You in the House Alone was awarded the Edgar Allan Poe Mystery Award. As one of the most respected authors in American children's literature, Peck has received numerous awards in addition to the Newbery Award, including the Margaret A. Edwards Award and the very prestigious National Humanities Medal. This award honors individuals whose work has deepened the nation's understanding of humanities. At almost 77 years old, Peck continues to write from his home in New York. Although he has written several books involving modern technology, he refuses to embrace it himself and writes every book on a typewriter. When he is not writing, he travels over 60,000 miles a year to speak in schools and seek inspiration from young students. He only begins a book if it is inspired by a child. Peck's passion for writing stems from a passion for reading. As he says in his autobiography, "I read because one life isn't enough, and in the page of a book I can be anybody. I read because the words that build the story become mine to build my life. I read not for happy endings, but for new beginnings. I'm just beginning myself, and I wouldn't mind a map. I read because I have friends who don't, and young though they are, they're beginning to run out of material. I read because every journey begins at the library, and it's time for me to start packing. I read because one of these days I'm going to get out of this town, and I'm going to go everywhere and meet everybody. and I want to be ready.